All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, I would proudly love to welcome back the one and only. This individual is a founding member of the iconic group D-12. I don't even need to hype up D-12 because everybody knows the group D-12. But we got the one and only Swifty McVay right here, back on the FM dial here in Canada. How are you doing this evening, Swifty?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Happy New Year to you and everybody out there listening, man. It's a brand new year, brand new start to bring greatness to the forefront, man. So I'm feeling good right now.
Hey, Happy New Year to you and yours as well, man. I have to ask, how's everything out there in the 313 of Detroit?
Man, freezing my ass off up here. I'm freezing right now, man. But I'm looking like Jack Nicholson on the end of The Shining. But other than that, everything has been good, man. Everything is flowing, and I don't have no complaints. Thank goodness.
And I saw as well that you actually have your pop-up shop there out in one of the malls in Michigan as well, man, where you actually have some phenomenal clothing.
Thank you. It's Detroit Life Clothing. So just trying to represent, man, and bring the Detroit life culture to the people around the world, man. Is at the mall in Parchers Creek, which is like a 20 minutes outside of Detroit. And for those that's around the world that can't get to Detroit like they to the mall like they want, you can actually go to DetroitLifeGear.com and get some Detroit Life gear for women, kids, and males. You know what I'm saying? They got book backpacks and all type of stuff on there, man. So just trying to represent and let people into this Detroit life essence.
And also, Swifty, as you already know, we actually had the opportunity to chop it up. So I have a whole different list of brand new questions to actually ask you. So instead of asking you like I normally do, what made you decide to get into music, I want to kick things off, man. Before the D-12 days, starting off in the year 1995, when you were actually a part of the phenomenal hip hop duo, the Rabies, man. I was wondering. Can you tell us a bit more about that? And of course, how did yourself and Barita originally get connected?
Okay, yeah, that's Beretta. But his name Beretta, a.k.a. Mr. Wrong. That was my rap partner. We started the Rabies actually back in the late 80s, man. We actually was called the Outcast before the Rabies. And we had the title the Outcast for a couple years, and the only reason why we had to change that name is because of the Outcast. That the hip hop group the Outcast came out, and so we changed our name to Rabies. And Rabies just stands for, we used to always call each other dogs. So we had a style that nobody in Detroit had, and we called it the Rabbit Dog style. And our style was a little bit different than like everybody's in Detroit, man. And we rolled together. We tried to go to New York and different cities to get deals, and we actually got a deal with Robbins Entertainment, distributed by BMG back in the mid-'90s, man. And we came out with an album called The Beat Don't Stop, featuring Detroit native Cha-Cha. And it was on the radio, and it did what it did, but we was only signed for a single deal. And then, shortly after that, the group got disbanded, man. So I was solo for a good while doing solo songs, and my good friend Bugs thought it would be a good idea that I got with D-12, and it was dope because I already had history and chemistry with D-12 already, but I was just in the Rabies, so everything just flowed from there.
And I got to say, that joint, the Beat Don't Stop, I have to say, man, had such a phenomenal production to that iconic single, man. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was actually Blackman that actually put that together. I have to ask, what was it like just being in the studio working with that iconic producer?
Oh, you talking about Chaka?
Chaka, yeah.
Chaka Blackman, man. I've been knowing Chaka Blackman since high school days, man. He didn't stay far away. He stayed maybe like 5 minutes from my house, man. So we would go over there to create music, and him and a few other guys, man, would play instruments, and they would come to our talent shows and play instruments for us during the talent shows. So we had a special kind of chemistry, man. I mean, he understood me and Beretta's rap style. He understood what we wanted and how we wanted it, and he even understood the type of music that we sounded good over, man. So that's just being around each other, man. You create this dope, special camaraderie that will allow you to be able to create. So every time he heard something, he knew whether it fitted us or not, man. Him, along with few other cats that he done worked with, man. And after he done did that, and we done worked on an album, as a matter of fact, it was him, Jay Dilla, rest in peace, and J Dub, who went on to sign with Puffy. They actually worked on the Rabies album, and the album never came out to see the light of day from the world, but it was a hood classic. So we definitely got an album with Jay Dilla and J Dub and Chaka all over it, man, that the world never got a chance to hear, which is crazy. But yeah, you know, I haven't seen Chaka in a while, so big shout out to Chaka. I know he's in LA doing big things right now, and I'm confident that whenever we see each other, we'll never miss a beat.
And also, as well, going into the D-12 days, during the early days of D-12, you guys actually had a DJ by the name of DJ Butter. And I have to ask, how did you guys originally get connected with the one and only DJ Butter out there in Detroit?
Well, you know what? DJ Butter wasn't the Rabies' official DJ, but you know, DJ Butter, man, he tapped in with a lot of artists from Detroit, man. He was this type of DJ that knew how to bring everybody together and make hits, man. He would make these special mixtapes in the city, man, and he'll have artists from all four corners of Detroit rapping on his project. And I know I done rapped on one of his projects along with a couple other Detroit natives. And he just did his thing. But, you know, DJ Butter ended up going out, doing a few shows for us, DJing for us for a couple of shows for D-12. But he never ended up being D-12's official DJ. But he did DJ for us for a couple of shows. And he was just a DJ who knew he could call us up whenever it was time for him to do mixtapes and do music and things of that nature. We had that type of camaraderie that we was, you know, there whenever he called us to make some magic happen.
And I gotta say as well, I loved your feature actually on his, I believe it was a year 2000 project, Kill the DJ. I might be mistaken on the year, but I do remember you actually collaborated with him on that joint, on his project.
Yeah, it was called We Don't Need You. That actually came out 1999. It was me and legendary DJ Dez. I think on the album, on that record, it's called Sylvia Vega. I know Dez had an AKA Sylvia Vega, but I know him as DJ Dez. I've been knowing DJ Dez since we was like in the 10th and 11th grade, man. I mean, he's another person who knew about the chemistry that me and Beretta, AKA Mr. Wrong, had back when we was the Rabies, man. I mean, DJ Dez done did tracks for us all through the 90s. He understood what we needed, what we wanted. And, you know, and I'm saying this humbly, man, the Rabies was hood stars. Everybody in the four corners of Detroit that was deep into hip-hop knew who we was and knew what kind of style we presented, man. So we was able to tap into these different artists and DJs around the city who provided flavor that matched us. You know, so DJ Butter, you know, called DJ Dez and myself to rap on his album Kill the DJ, man, and that's when that song transpired. Me and DJ Dez been doing music for years before the end, but that's what it was.
And also as well, I know, like last interview we actually talked about the D-12 record My World, but I wanted to actually take you back actually to Devil's Night, which actually is your guys' debut record that actually got released June 19th of 2001, that was actually partially produced by Dr. Dre. I was wondering if you can actually tell us the story behind this legendary project, and of course, what was it like just seeing Dr. Dre at work?
Well, you know what? After we dropped I Shit on You in 2000, man, it was time to go back in the lab. We actually went on the anger management tour with Eminem. We ended up going out on the, you know, as a matter of fact, we went on the Up the Smoke tour first, which was our very first tour that we ever went on as D-12, and we met Dr. Dre. And when it was time to get into the studio, man, I could tell you, man, I don't know about everybody else, but I was nervous to meet Dr. Dre for the first time because, I mean, you know, this is legendary Dr. Dre, man. You know, we've been working our whole life to work with somebody on Dre's status, man. And when we finally got to meet him, man, he brought forth this energy that made everybody feel comfortable, man. I mean, you know, working in the booth with him, man, he could tell when I was a little bit nervous, you know, because I just want to be perfect. I want to make everything right. You know, this is Dr. Dre, so he looked at me and was like, you know what, man, you need some Hennessy, man. He gave me some Hennessy, loosened up a little bit, and things became a little bit more organic, man. But working with him was phenomenal, man. He understood exactly what was needed to take things to the top. He understood what was needed when you needed to take things out of the record, when you needed to put things into the record, man, and just magically things felt right. And I'm not just saying this because it's Dr. Dre, man. It was just something about him tapping into these different areas of our songs, and we put our trust, 100% trust in him, of course, because he is who he is, man, and his things just turned out right. So big shout out to Dr. Dre, man, and his whole team.
And I got to say as well, when you actually said you were nervous when you first met him, I personally, I don't blame you whatsoever, because a lot of people, sometimes they don't really comprehend how long Dr. Dre has really been doing his thing. Like he paved the way for gangsta rap way back in the 80s, man. So at the end of the day, in 2000, 2001, he was already solidified within hip hop.
Yeah, absolutely, already solidified, man. So, you know, working with him, man, one thing I could say, which was dope, is he let us be ourselves, man. He didn't step in and say, well, maybe you should be this way or maybe you should be that way, man. He really dug us because he felt our energy as MCs, and he let us be who we needed to be, and he tapped in and piggybacked, making magic based off of who we already was, instead of trying to build us into something that he wanted us to be. And comfortability came forth from there, man. So when he came through to work on the Devil's Night with us, man, we let him do his thing. And when we got in the booth, he let us do our thing. And all he did was kind of help elevate what we did by allowing to help us be comfortable. And that's why I can take my hat off to him to this day, man, for doing that. And he did it humbly as well.
And also, as well, on Devil's Night, you guys actually had a iconic song by the name of Fight Music that actually featured a cameo in the music video by the one and only Ice-T. I was wondering, how did you guys actually get connected with Ice-T? And, of course, what was it like having him in your guys' Fight music video?
Well, shoot, man, I know we was doing a show somewhere, man, and we was all in the dressing room when it was time to come up with a treatment for the video. And all of us agreed that we should go ahead and redo the Warriors video, man. It just made too much sense, man. I mean, you know, we are big fans of the movie The Warriors, and when we thought about the concept of, you know, trying to get back to a certain place from a certain place like the movie Warriors, we just thought that having Ice-T in the video to play Cyrus was just a great matchup, man, because, you know, Ice-T is the OG. He's been around forever, man, and who would have did it better than Ice-T as far as representing somebody who represented the different gangs of that culture versus the different rap groups of the culture, man. So Ice-T is cool, man. He understands the assignment. He's been here forever, man, so he can see right through us as artists, man, and then he gives the wisdom that we need to take with us, too. So it's a blessing to be able to have a conversation with somebody like Ice-T who doesn't push up and press up on you, man, but just humbly gives you that wisdom that you need to take with you so you can be better at being an artist. And not only an artist, being a better man as well. And not too many people of that stature can be, you know, patient enough to share that type of wisdom with you, man. So big shout out to Ice-T for sure.
And I gotta say as well, I remember when that music video actually debuted on MTV back in the day. The MTV actually had their own variation or version of that music video, and I couldn't count how many times MTV played that video week through week through week. I gotta say, it never got old, in my personal opinion.
My man, I salute you, man. Thank you. It's a blessing to be able to bring that energy, man. I mean, you know, we grew up off the Warriors, but I knew it was a lot of the younger generation back then that didn't know. So it was something new to that generation at that time, which made that video a little bit more special, man. So it was a blessing to be able to pay homage to such a classic cinema. You know what I'm saying? So thank you.
And I gotta say, you are most certainly welcome. I'm sure, as you already know, down here in Canada, we have a thing called Much Music. So I watched a lot of MTV when I had the opportunity, but whenever I did have a chance, I used to watch this thing called Punch Much, which actually you could actually text the TV and actually request the video. I encounter how many times I ran up my cell phone bill just to actually request that song.
Word up. I appreciate the love. Thank you for your support, brother.
And before we actually move off the topic of Devil's Night, the one song I really wanted to bring up and wanted to touch base on is the one Purple Pills. Because I do know that one was blasted all over the radio back in the day. And the one thing I have to ask, because as you already know, you created the song, so the content in that song, how did you guys originally get that on radio? I do know you guys had to change the words around, and a lot of, I think Bizarre's verse was actually completely altered. I have to ask, were you guys okay with that song actually being altered? And of course, how did you guys actually make that work in the studio?
Yeah, I mean, when we actually made that song, man, to be honest with you, we didn't make that song saying, okay, this is the song that we're going to make for the radio. We didn't try to make that song for the radio. We was just having fun with it, man. And once we did the song, we organically wrote the lyrics the way we wanted it to be. And then when Marshall, added the instruments and everybody, the musicians played their part, we listened to it and said, you know what? I think this song might be dope enough to put out as a single to the world. And then we looked at it and said, okay, well, if you think that, then we're going to have to go and revise a couple of things to make it radio friendly. But we never looked at it as a song that we wanted to put out to the world as far as a single. And that's one thing that Dr. Dre taught us, man. He was just like, man, never make a song for the radio. Just make the song. And if it sounds good enough to make it to the radio, then that's a blessing. But don't ever try to make a radio song. You might end up trying to make it a little bit too glamorous or something. So that's what we did with Purple Pills, man. We decided that it should be a single, so we just did everything that we needed to do to change it up, called it Purple Hills, did what MTV asked us to do, and thank goodness that we put that song out, because if it wasn't for that song, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So thanks to everybody who supported it, that song. We had no problem revising it either, because we know the importance of having a song that's a strong single, and that's how that worked out.
And also, as well, you were actually featured on Proof's song, Sammy the Bull, alongside the late, great Nate Dogg. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the behind-the-scenes story of this phenomenal recording session, and of course, what was it like just working alongside Nate Dogg?
Absolutely. Big shout-out and rest in peace to Nate Dogg. Big shout-out and rest in peace to Big Proof. We were all hanging out one night, man, and and before I go into the things that happen behind the scenes, I can say when you're doing songs for people organically, when it's not planned, sometimes you make the best songs that way, man. And so we was all hanging out. Nate Dogg was in Detroit one night, and we were bar hopping, going to club, man, and we ended up going to the studio. And once we went to the studio, man, Proof had this beat sitting in his archive, and he threw it on, and Nate Dogg wrote the chorus in 5 minutes. And when I say he wrote the chorus in 5 minutes, I'm not exaggerating, man. He came, wrote that chorus in 5 minutes, and me and Proof piggybacked off that chorus. So we literally did that song in about a good hour and a half. Threw the beat on, Nate Dogg heard it, he wrote the chorus in 5 minutes, and we wrote the raps based off of that chorus, and that song was created just like that.
And I gotta say as well, in my personal opinion, that is probably one of the most iconic songs I actually ever heard. You three had such phenomenal chemistry on that song, in my personal opinion. I loved how Nate Dogg actually brought that West Coast sound to a Detroit-style track.
Yeah, thank you. And I mean, and as the millennials say, he understood the assignment. When you tapped in, man, you really understand your part and you play your part. And all three of us played our part. And thank goodness that he wrote the chorus that fast, because it ain't no telling what type of song that would have been if we would have started on it first. So he really created the basis in the blueprint that brought me and Proof to create the way we created to it, man. So yeah, big rest in peace to those two, man. It was a blessing to be able to be in the studio with these cats at the same time, creating that magic.
And also, as well, in the year 2006, you actually released the phenomenal mixtape titled Forest Fires on your label, Arsenal Vision Entertainment. I was wondering, could you tell us a bit more about this phenomenal release? And also, as well, I noticed on your website that you're actually currently selling autographed copies of this particular record as well.
Absolutely, man. A lot of people don't know that Forest Fires is my actual debut solo mixtape, man. After Proof passed, man, I mean, I always wanted to do something solo, but with D-12 being on our back, man, it was just all about D-12. So when Proof passed, man, it just put the fire up under me, man, to go ahead and do a solo project. And I felt that the fans been rocking with us for so long, showing us so much love. I wanted to give them an album that they can rock to without industry beats, something that all had original beats to it. And I didn't want to sell it. I wanted to give it to the fans to show my appreciation. Like, yo, here goes some raw, uncut music you never heard before, all original tracks, 18 songs. So I purposely, intentionally put my heart and soul into creating this 18, 20-song album for the world with original beats to give it away for free to show my appreciation, man. And thank goodness that it received the love that it received. And, you know, it got a picture in the inside of the album cover with a rare picture never seen by the world with me and Proof in it. And I just felt, man, just, you know, I guess it was just time to kind of release this rare picture that's been sitting inside of these copies for the longest to the world, man. So I just decided to re-release the album to all the fans who didn't get a chance to not only hear the music, but just to have something, man, with my signature on it and a picture that they never seen before, man, just to have as far as appreciation, man. So that's how that came about.
And I gotta say as well, as you already know, I actually already purchased my copy of that, so I'm actually super excited to actually put that in a frame and hang it here in the radio station studio.
Thank you, my brother. I really, really, really appreciate that love, man. You showing love on a debut mixtape. It means a lot.
And I also as well, I gotta say, man, I noticed as well that on that mixtape, you actually have the one and only Obi Trice on the song "Kill Me." I was wondering, what actually made you decide to feature then young Obi Trice actually on that particular project?
Yeah, you know, I wanted Obi Trice. You know, me and Obi Trice has a dope relationship, man. I mean, you know, me and everybody else got a dope relationship too, but Obi, that's my brother from another mother, man. I wanted him to be a part of the project, and at that time, you know, he had got shot, and you know, he was recovering, and things was going on with him, man, with the bullet in his head. And so besides him doing something that we could have rocked together, man, I really was upset that not only that he got shot, and I'm happy that he didn't die, but I also wanted him to be on the project, but he couldn't be on the project the way I needed him to be, man. So he actually was like, yo, well, if you want me to be on the project, man, I got some unheard songs that no one ever heard that you can go ahead and pick to be on there, man. So I said, you know what, I'd rather you be on here with a solo song other than not being on here at all. So he gave me 2 or 3 tracks to pick from. I picked that particular one and used it and just put it on there, man. I just hate that I wasn't able to drop a verse on it, but at least I had Obi Trice on my debut, you know what I'm saying? So that's how that worked out.
And I remember back in the day as well hearing about Obi being shot, and I have to say I'm so glad that he is actually still here with us today, because if he would have got taken from us, we wouldn't have been able to hear all those countless projects that he actually put out throughout the years.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. He's blessed, man. I mean, he got shot in the head, and that bullet hit his skull and did not go inside of his skull to hit his brain, man. So the Lord said, yo, you know, you got some more work out here to do, man, because it could have been a whole different outcome. And what makes it so bad is it was just some haters that just wanted to see him gone. And he didn't beef with nobody. He didn't have no fight with nobody in no club. He didn't get into it with nobody. It was just somebody out in the city that just didn't want to see him happy, man, that decided to do that to him, man. It just wasn't his time. So big shout out to Obi Trice. He got some new music on the way as well.
And also as well, aside from being an MC, you also have ventured into the radio aspect of the music industry as well, where you actually hosted the self-titled show, the Swifty McVay Show, on 910 AM radio. I was wondering, what originally made you decide to venture into radio? And of course, if that show is still actually on the air today, where can our listeners actually tune in and check you out?
Well, yeah, well, unfortunately, it's not on the air anymore, man. It was actually on 9:10 a.m. for about a good nine months. I think I was on the air for about a good 9 months. I always wanted to do a radio show coming up, man, and I told myself if I ever had a chance to get on a radio show, I would love to do something on an AM channel. And I know AM channel sounds, you know, like the lowest of the totem pole compared to FM, but I said to myself, at least with an AM channel, man, we can kind of draw people to this network, man, like never before, because a lot of people don't tap into the AM, and I'm all about going against the grain, doing something different, doing something new, and I just started tapping into an AM, blowing an AM station up would just be a phenomenal thing if I could ever do something like that. And I was given the opportunity, man, to get on a 9:10 a.m. for a talk show, and I told myself, I told the producers and the owner of the building, I said, man, you know, doing a talk show is good, but I'm a man from the hip-hop culture, and I want to go ahead and bring music to the forefront. So I couldn't just do no talk show without bringing hip-hop music to the forefront. So it was a little bit of talking. I played hip-hop songs that you never heard on the radio. Like I was playing songs off the MC's albums that was never getting the light of day on the radio, which made my show a little different from the rest, man, and playing freestyles and things of that nature. Just playing B songs and songs that you would never ever hear on the radio. And it just lasted for 8 months, man. It just fell short from the radio station. I guess you wanted to do something different. And I just respected the owner's wishes, man, and did something different. But I think it would have been a phenomenal show if it was still on the air, because people from all over was tapping in, and I was talking to people from Britain to Canada to Australia, man, was chiming into that show because they was hearing songs that never would have got a chance to get played on the radio from every artist.
And I have to say as well, man, me personally, I always enjoyed the AM radio myself. I always had that it always had that authentic sound to it, because it wasn't the best sound quality, but when you did listen to it, it almost took you back to a simpler time, if that kind of makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. I mean, you know, AM radio, man, is almost like the Lost Network type thing, man. And all I wanted to do was just kind of shed light to it and almost be like the first rapper that blew up an AM station like never before, man. You know what I'm saying? So it might be done. Something might happen to where I might tap into it again if I'm given an opportunity. Or it might be another artist around the world that might be able to tap into that. I mean, you know, we got internet radio taking over whatever, man, but you never know what the future may bring, man. You know what I'm saying? So, hey.
And also as well, I noticed as well that about last month, a brand new album dropped actually by a Canadian hip-hop duo by the name of 80 Empire, titled Anthems and Icons. I was wondering, how did yourself and 80 Empire actually get connected? And of course, what was it like just actually being featured all over their brand new phenomenal record?
Man, big shout out to 80 Empire. Those are my brothers from another mother, man. Phenomenal brothers, man. Phenomenal talent. They actually did a song for Obi Trice called Battle Cry, if I'm saying the right title right, man, on one of Obi Trice album. And me and Obi Trice was getting ready to tour one year. I think it was a few years ago. We was about to tour. So Obi Trice was letting me hear his new album before it dropped to the world. And he played a couple of beats from 80 Empire. He was like, yo, these are the same guys that did Battle Cry. So he played at least about 3 or 4 joints. And I heard one joint that just stuck to my head, man. And at the time, I was working on a soundtrack for a movie that I'm in called Devil's Night Dawn Under Nan Rouge. I was working on the soundtrack. So when Obi played that one track, I told him, I said, yo, put your finger on this track right here, man, because I'm looking for you to be on my album with me, and we need to do a track together anyway. So when he told 80 Empire that I wanted the track, 80 Empire was like, all right, bet, y'all go ahead and rock it. So me and Obi Trice rocked the song. It's called Phony off the Devil's Night Dawn Under Nan Rouge soundtrack. We did a video for it, put it on the soundtrack. We ended up touring. We toured Canada. 80 Empire came through. They rocked the show with us, man. We was behind stage in the dressing room, laughing, joking, you know, building a bond and camaraderie. And then, you know, not too long after that, man, you know, I talked to them over the phone. They was like, yo, let's go ahead and do a project together, man. So I said, okay, I'm working on this My Brother's Keeper album with Canava, man. As soon as I'm done with this album, I'm going to holler at you. As soon as the My Brother's Keeper album was done, I hollered at 80 Empire, man, and we did an album called 80 Empire. The only reason why I called it 80 Empire is because I wanted to showcase the world how dope it was. So it was called Swifty McVay Presents 80 Empire. Lucas Reza did the beats, Adrian Reza sung the choruses, I did the rhymes, and the chemistry came together so strong, man. And not only the chemistry came together so strong, we just built a bond and a brotherhood that I can literally, you know, call them brothers from another mother, man. I love them to death. And so, you know, as time went on, man, they was working on projects, man, and they asked me to be a part of their project, Anthem and Icons. And I was like, yo, if they asked me to be a part of anything else, I will be. And we also got another album dropping called Gray Rose, 80 Empire and Swifty McVay. No features, just us. 2021 song album about to be presented to the world in 2022. Album is already finished. We just putting the herbs and spices and getting all the kinks out of the records right now. So just watch out for that, man. So whatever they call me to do some music with them, man, I'm always there.
And when you actually brought up the Devil's Night movie, that was actually one of my next questions actually in my list. Aside from the soundtrack, you actually portrayed Mayor Flynn of Detroit in that movie. I have to ask you because I do know during our first interview we talked about your earlier acting roles in Adam Sandler's The Longest Yard. But I have to ask, what was it like having a feature role actually in this film? Because I do know with Longest Yard and whatnot, you were just like kind of like a cameo, but this is a full-on role. I have to ask, what actually made you decide to accept this phenomenal movie role?
Yeah, when I talked to the director, Sam Logan, man, I told him, he wanted me to be in the movie, man. But I told him, I said, I've done so many movies where I'm playing a hood cat or this gangster person and this, that, and the third. I just wanted to show the world my versatility, man. And I said, you know what? I appreciate you for allowing me to be in this movie, man. If you give me to get into this movie and give me a part, please give me something that can be totally against the grain from what I've already been doing, so I can kind of show the world my versatility, man. So he said, bet. So when he gave me the script, he wrote me as the mayor of Detroit. So I said, okay, cool. That just allowed me to get busy a little bit, man. Getting my suit and tie swag on and taking it to a level that people never really seen me in, and that was the whole goal, to be able to show the world my versatility as an actor. Because not only did I do The Longest Yard, I did a couple of local features too, and I didn't want to get typecast, man. So that was all that. That's what that was about. Just doing something that the world never seen me do to show my versatility.
And I gotta say as well, man, you definitely played a phenomenal role in that movie. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed the movie and what all you guys brought to the table. Have the military veteran returns home and works in the law enforcement. I just find that whole entire film had a phenomenal plot.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you for tuning in too.
But also as well, coming up January 16th of this year, you will actually be releasing your brand new album titled Detroit Life 2. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this phenomenal record, and of course, what can we actually expect from it when it does drop to the general public next week?
Okay, yeah, man. I actually did the regular Detroit Life last year, and I showcased a whole lot of songs on this album with a lot of versatility. On this album, Detroit Life 2, man, I wanted to take it back to the essence, man, back to how things was when me and D-12 was back into the hip-hop shop. So it's a little bit more grungy. It's a little bit more darker than the last album. I wanted to go ahead and showcase the hungriness that I represented back when I was in the hip-hop shop, man. So you're going to see a lot of songs that caters to mixtape style songs, but the whole album is not a mixtape style album. But you're going to hear a couple of songs that will remind you of mixtape songs, because I want to go ahead and show the world, like, yo, I can be conceptual, but don't forget that I can get busy lyrically as well. So I just wanted to remind people that this is the lane that I'm very, very much used to, man. So you're going to expect a lot of dark grunginess, a lot of versatile conceptual songs as well. But I wanted to take it back to the essence of where D-12 came from, which was the hip-hop shop when we used to battle, showcase skills, and when we were hungry. It's not like a laid-back conceptual album where it is going to different elements of subjects, man, but it harbors a lot of the cloth that we're tore from, and that's that raw, uncut essence of hip-hop in its rawest form. Before D-12 came out with D-12 Devil's Night, this is what we displayed. So you're going to see a lot of that hungriness that we had in the late 90s before we came out with Eminem on this album. And it drops January 16th on all platforms. I also have some hard copies coming too. So for those that's listening, make sure y'all write this down. DetroitLifeGear.com is where the hard copy will be sold. And I might actually have the first Detroit Life CDs on there as well. So I'm going to be selling these hard copies with merchandise, hats, hoodies, shirts, or whatnot. Or you can go ahead and get the hard copy on your own. They're going to be autographed copies. I'm going to autograph them before I sign them out. For those who are wondering if I really autograph these CDs, yes, I autograph the CDs. And and I just hope y'all enjoy it, man. This is just the rawest of the rawest hip-hop that you can listen to in its rawest form. And January 16th is going down.
And also as well, because I do know none of the songs off this brand new album is released, so I want to give listeners a taste of what they can expect by playing one of my personal favorite joints off the Detroit Life first album that actually dropped last year. We're playing the song Welcome to Detroit, featuring a phenomenal gifted singer. I have to ask you, for the listeners that haven't had the opportunity to hear this phenomenal record, what can they expect from it when I play it right here live on the FM dial here in a few moments?
Yeah, this is Welcome to Detroit that came off of the Detroit Life album that dropped last year. It's me featuring my homegirl Alita Henderson. She's a soulful singer, man, that been holding it down for me like Smurf with ankle weights, man. She has music on the internet, music that's streaming right now if you into soulfulness, singing and whatnot. And I just wanted to bring people into the essence of Detroit with the old school nostalgia track that can bring people into our world, man. So this is a very Detroit rooted essence that you're about to hear right now, man. And you can go ahead and check out the video, and it's going to bring you to the essence of Detroit even more. But this is Welcome to Detroit featuring Alita Henderson.
And I gotta say as well, man, that's my personal favorite song off that project. I gotta say, she has such an amazing voice. I'm telling you, it can make a blind man cry, wishing he could actually see the individual singing. Because I gotta say, her voice is absolutely phenomenal.
Word up. Thank you. Big shout out to Alita, man. She always come through like Smurfs with ankle weights, man. She holds it down. And every time I call her, man, she's ready to come through to the studio and bless the tracks, man. Whenever she's doing performances or whatnot, man, we try to go ahead and support her. And she's also on the Detroit Life first album on another song called Really Don't as well, with her and Little David Ruffin too. So yeah, just watch out for Alita Henderson, man. She's definitely doing her thing out here right now.
And also as well, Swifty, I have to ask, aside from Detroit Life 2, and of course, your Detroit Life merchandise and the autographed CDs that you're selling right now, is there anything we happen to miss during this broadcast? Anything else you do still want to talk about or promote? Well, we still got you here live on the Canadian FM dial here this evening.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I also got an album with my homeboy Razkaz and my homeboy Yuckmouth from the Loonies and my homeboy MRKSX, man. It's called Long Story Longer. We dropped this album back in October, man, and it's streaming on all sites. It's 10 songs of pure heat rocks. We got maybe 3 or 4 videos for the project. So if you haven't heard that album, make sure y'all go to Apple, Spotify, Tidal, all the streaming sites, and look up Long Story Longer, featuring me, Razkaz, Yuckmouth, and MRKSX. And it's featuring, we got a track with Havoc. We got a track by Havoc, not with Havoc, but by Havoc of Ma Deep. He produced a track on that album. We got Speech from Arrested Development on there. And, yeah, man, we've been really promoting that the last few months. So now that everybody is back intact doing their solo stuff, man, I'm going to present to you the Detroit Life 2. And hopefully all of us can get together and bring something new to y'all this year, man. But that's the latest thing I've been working on as a collective collab. And then, and then we got the hard copies coming out. So, yeah, just stay tuned on my social medias, man, so you can know what's going on with this Detroit Life 2 and the hard copies and all that good stuff, man. And for those who want my social media, you can go to McVay D-12. That's at MCVAYD12 for the Instagram, MCVAYD12 for the Twitter. And for those who tune in to Facebook, you can go to Facebook/Swifty D12 for the Facebook.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, Swifty, thank you so much again for just giving not only myself but the radio station listeners a bit of your time yet again. And I do want to say as well, man, like I told you before, I've been a big fan of yourself and D-12 for many years. I still remember actually getting one of my very first CDs at a Music World actually was Devil's Night, man. So I definitely grew up on you guys. You guys definitely helped me get through a lot of difficult times, and I truly feel if it wasn't for D-12 and Eminem, I really don't know where I would be today. So for that, Swifty, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for years of monumental music that helped not only myself, but also millions upon millions of listeners worldwide, man. So, Swift, thank you so much for that, man. And again, thank you so much for your time here this evening.
Word. I appreciate the love. I appreciate your support and for rocking with us all these years, man. And thank you for inquiring and having me on your platform, man. And whenever you want to chop it up again, man, you know where to hit me up. It'll be my pleasure to come through and holler at everybody again. Y'all watch out for that Detroit Life 2, January 16th on all digital platforms, man. It's coming to you at a store near you. So I salute everybody who tuned in, and I salute you too, my brother.
Hey, most definitely. Thank you so much, Swifty. And again, man, thank you so much, and we definitely shall talk soon, man. Definitely have yourself a wonderful night out there in Detroit.
Yes, sir. You do the same, my brother. I salute you.
I salute you as well. Thank you so much, Swifty.
Yes, sir. Peace.